Hello guys, welcome to your Focus Weekly video for the module of International Relation and Internal Security. So in this video, the topics which I'm going to take for today's discussion are: first is the issue of Kurdistan. Second, the Russia and Ukraine have agreed to go for ceasefire in Black Sea. So in this context, the Black Sea, the location of Black Sea becomes important for pre-exam. And the third is India's maritime strategy in Indian Ocean region. So what all the steps being taken under our maritime strategy in the Indian Ocean region? Few things are very important for this year pre. So let's discuss the first issue, that is the issue of Kurdistan. Now, you need to understand this. As such, from exam point of view, no one will going to ask you to write about this issue of Kurdistan. So to understand the issue of Kurdistan, first, this location, Kurdistan, where these people wants to create their state called Kurdistan. Now, I use the word state. So to understand this issue of Kurdistan, what you need to understand is the difference between the two words, nation and state. Okay. So those who are aspiring for Kurdistan, they want a statehood of Kurdistan, where they want to create it. And important is to understand the difference between nation and state. So if the question is being asked, how many countries are there in the world? So what it means, we are saying how many nations in the world or how many states in the world. Okay. In political terminology, in the terminology of international relation, what is the right word to use? How many states are there? So how many countries or states are there in the world are 193. You can do this homework of which one is the 193rd state in the world. So where lies the difference? When we are using the word nation and when we are using the word state, what India is India the nation? Or India is a state? Or India is a nation state? Can we say all the states which exist in the world are nation states? Okay. So there is objectivity in the concept of state and there is subjectivity in the concept of nation. State is a political entity. Nation is a cultural or a emotional entity. Culture is a way of life. So those people who have same language, same religion, same way of life, same kind of cuisine, food and dressing habits, they constitute nation. So the concept of nation emerged in the West, that too in French Revolution. And Europeans established this fact that those people who can establish themselves as nation, they are eligible for state. And that is why the saying goes, European concept of nation is unity in uniformity, that same kind of people, those who are culturally homogeneous can aspire for state. And you can very well understand this, that India is a land of diversity, different culture, diverse people, diverse languages. Okay. And so many religions are there within India. So that is why the British, they throw this challenge in front of India. India is not a nation. And because India is not a nation, so India can't aspire for state. We can't have a state called India because India is a land of diversity. But there were leaders in India. Okay. Their belief was India is a nation. India was a nation and India will be a nation. And the leader who was at the forefront of giving this particular idea that India is a nation was Aurobindo Ghosh. And that's why Aurobindo is known as the prophet of Indian nationalism. He said those who can't see India as a nation, they do not have the clarity of India. Okay. Despite diversity prevailing, we do have unity. And that is why the concept given by the leaders of Indian freedom movement and their belief was unity in diversity. So our concept of statehood, our concept of nation believes in unity in diversity. Western concept of nation is unity in uniformity. Okay. So nation is, that's why, a subjective concept and state is a objective concept, because idea of nation can be different for different people, and that is why the saying goes one man's nationalist can be others terrorist. Okay, this is the subjectivity which involves in the issue, in the topic of nation, which is the reason for the subjectivity in the issue of terrorism, because one man's nationalist becomes others terrorist. So who is terrorist, who is nationalist, this is subjective, because the idea of nation can vary among different people. Okay, so can we say India is a strong nation state? It will be too early to say that. India became state in 47, but the objective of strengthening the national identities in India is still going on. The process has not yet completed. Okay. The day there will be no secessionist movement within India, that day will be able to say this thing with surety, that with conviction, that now India is a strong nation state as people's national identities are stronger. If you see India, there are a lot of centripetal and fugal forces. So if centrifugal will become strong than centripetal, we will see disintegration. Okay. So nation building was one of the biggest challenge after independence in front of the leaders of India because of the diversity prevailing. And the Western leaders and scholars, they were having this conviction India will never going to survive as a united country because of the diversity we have within India. Survival of India as a united country, despite challenges, speaks volume that the view of the leaders of Indian freedom movement was they had a much better understanding of the idea of India. Despite diversity, there are some centripetal forces which has kept us united. Okay, survival of India as a united country in the last 70 years itself speaks volume about the success of this particular thought, that the leaders of Indian freedom movement were having a proper understanding of India. Okay, so though survival of India as a united country is a miracle for the West, that how come India having so much of diversity is able to survive? Because their idea of India is unity. Their idea of state is that they should be strong nation state. Okay. So only people of same culture, same language, same religion can live together. This is the Western idea. But the belief of our leaders is people having diversity can still live as a united country. Okay. So the elements of state are population, territory, government, and sovereignty. So if a entity able to fulfill these four elements, that is having territory, having government, having sovereignty, having population living in that territory, that entity is eligible for statehood. Okay. While nation believes in common culture, common language, common religion. So it's a emotional concept. So the idea of nation can be different for different people. Like issue of Khalistan is a challenge for Indian statehood. A Khalistani nationalist who aspires for their own sovereign state of Khalistan will be seen as terrorist who is challenging the integrity sovereignty of India. Issue of Bodoland, issue of Nagaland, issue of Kashmir. So those who are fighting for these ideas, these state, they will be seen as terrorists. This makes one man's nationalist, other terrorist. Okay. Now, if a entity has these four elements, is it can we say it is a state in international system? So the entity who have these elements is eligible to become a state in international system. Okay. So, for example, a violent outfit emerged in West Asia, that is Islamic State. It took over the territories of Iraq and Syria. Population was living, they created their own administration and IS leadership sovereign too. Okay, sovereign means independence to take their own decision. But this will not make them state in international system. As I said, how many states are there in international system? 193. And every state hold one voting right. They hold one vote in General Assembly. So a entity to become a state in international system requires the support of two-third members of General Assembly. Once two-third members of General Assembly allows or give their legitimacy to the entity, only then that entity becomes state. Okay. IS took over the territories through force, and that is why international community will not give them recognition. So, in the perspective of the leaders of IS, it's a state, but it is not a state in international system. So, how many states are there in international system? 193 states. Okay. So, if if you understand this idea of nation and state, now you can understand the issue of Kurdistan. Okay, so a Kurdish nationalist aspires for the state of Kurdistan because the Kurdish people, they have their own idea of a nation, so they want their statehood, that is state of Kurdistan. Okay, so to understand the issue of Kurdistan, you need to understand the a bit of overview about the politics of West Asia. Now, West Asia is divided on two lines. One, religion, that is the two sects of Islam, Shia, Sunni, and other division of West Asia, which is the least, which in general students do not understand, is on the lines of ethnicity, Arabs and non-Arabs. The Arab states, they have created their own organization, that is Arab League. Now, Arab is a it's a ethnicity. So Arabs will have same culture, same language, same cuisine. They are Arabic speaking people. And Kurds are not the part of Arab world. Ethnically, they are different. So Kurds has faced violence from the hands of whom? Arabs. And Kurds wants to create their state where within the region which is being claimed by Arabs as their, which is the Kurds wants to create their Kurdistan in that region, which is a part of Arab world. Okay. So states like Egypt, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, all are part of Arab world. Okay. Even North African state, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Sudan. So you can see how many states are there in Arab League. They all are Arabs. Okay. So Kurds were living in Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire was having its control over the Arab land. Okay. And the Ottomans different from Arabs. First World War. British and France, they fought against Ottoman. And Ottoman rulers of Ottomans were in alliance with Germany, Austria-Hungary. They defeated, and under the Treaty of Sevres, Ottoman Empire was disintegrated. And Ottoman Empire was disintegrated, which led to the creation of new states in world politics, like Turkey, Syria, Iraq. Iran, it is a Persian state, not a part of Arab world. And Kurds wants to create their Kurdistan by taking the contiguous areas of Iraq, Iran, Syria, and Turkey. So Kurds were living in Persia. Kurds were living under Ottoman, and Syria and Iraq was the part of Ottoman Empire. Okay. Now, First World War created a feeling of nationalism world over. So Jews who were also living in Ottoman Empire and various parts of Europe, and Kurds, both the groups started demanding their own state, that is nation state, Kurdistan for Kurd and Israel for Jews. Okay, resisted by Arabs. So Jews demanded Jewish Palestine and Kurds demanded their own nation state, that is Kurdistan. So if anyone will ask you, Kurdistan, demand for Kurdistan is a threat and challenge for whom? It's a threat and challenge for the integrity and sovereignty of Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Armenia. First thing which you need to know. Now, majority Kurds are follower of Sunni sect of Islam, but violence can be who can do violence against them? Both Sunni Arabs and Shia Arabs. So hatred against Kurds is on the lines of ethnicity. So division of this region is on two lines. One is religion and second is ethnicity. Okay. So this is what exactly the demand of the Kurds is, that we need our own Kurdistan. And this issue was in the news because violent Kurdish organization in Turkey, they decided to go for ceasefire within Turkey. So you don't have to remember this. This is a Kurdish organization in Turkey who has decided to go for ceasefire. Okay. So more important is to know the difference between nation and state. Now, I hope you can understand. For West, still India is a weak nation state. We will project we are a strong nation state, and people in India have strong national identities, though you can put a big question mark in your mind. In India, our national identities are more strong or regional identities. Okay. And if regional are more strong than national, it will be a challenge for the idea of India. Right. So where they are living in Iraq, Iran, Armenia, Turkey, and Syria. What they aspire for is Kurdistan. So aspiration of Kurdistan is a direct threat and challenge for the integrity and the sovereignty of these five states. Take rest. This is the Treaty of Sevres, which was signed with the Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire was disintegrated in this. Okay. Rest is history, that over Syria, France took over the control, and over Iraq, Iraq and Palestine, Britain took over the control, and they became the mandates under the mandate system of the League of Nations. So I hope you are aware of the mandate system under the League of Nations. Okay. So this is what exactly the issue of Kurdistan is, right? And who these people are. So Kurds are one of the ethnic group living in these parts of the world. And there are two types of Kurdish organization, moderate Kurds and radical Kurds. Moderates are demanding autonomy within the state, and radicals demanding sovereignty. Though there is an aspiration among all the Kurds, as they all are ethnically same, for their own nation state. And when IS emerged, Islamic State, a radical Sunni outfit of Arabs, they also use violence against the Kurds. So Jews and Kurds, they are the most persecuted ethnic minorities in the region. Okay, faced violence after violence. So this much you should be aware of. There can be question like this, that Kurds or the issue of Kurdistan is a threat and challenge for the integrity and sovereignty of which states out of the following? Okay. So I hope it is clear to all of you. So next topic of our discussion is the ceasefire which has been signed between Ukraine and Russia in Black Sea. So the next topic of our discussion is Russia and Ukraine have agreed to end their military action or ceasefire in Black Sea. So in which context it is important is that the location of Black Sea, they have agreed for a naval ceasefire in a US mediated talks in Riyadh. So who all shares border with Black Sea? Questions like this do come in your pre. These are not the questions of geography. These are questions of geopolitics. That is the politics of geography. Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova, Ukraine, Russia, and Turkey. Right? Largest inland body of water bounded by Ukraine, Russia and Georgia, Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania. Okay. Important to know, Black Sea is connected to Atlantic Ocean or Mediterranean Sea. It is connected to Mediterranean Sea and further Atlantic. How? Sea of Marmara, Aegean Sea, Sea of Azov, and Bosporus Strait connects Black Sea to Sea of Marmara. Okay. So the locations which are important to know is Bosporus Strait. What is strait? Sea of Marmara, Aegean Sea, Mediterranean Sea. And the rivers which enters into Black Sea are Don, Danube, Dniester, and Dnieper. D is silent, Dnieper. Okay, Don, Danube, Dniester, and Dnieper. Okay, so this is important to know because Black Sea is in the news. This is Bosporus Strait. Okay, so Bosporus Strait connects Black Sea with the Sea of Marmara. Okay, so remember these locations from exam point of view. Let's shift to the next topic of our discussion. India's maritime diplomacy in Africa and Indian Ocean region and the new initiatives which we have taken. So in the last video also, we have discussed about IORA, Indian Ocean Rim Association. Okay. So IORA was again in the news, but already we have discussed about IORA in the last video. So this year there can be a question on Indian Ocean Rim Association. It's a association when it was constituted, what are the major objectives, and how many member countries are the part of Indian Ocean Rim Association. Okay. So what are the new steps being taken under India's maritime diplomacy? Let's discuss that. Okay. So under this, so series of maritime initiatives has been announced. First, Mahasagar. Second, IOS Sagar. Okay, these are the two important initiatives which have been taken recently, which are in the news. And Sagar initiative, we have already discussed in our last video, and Indian Ocean Rim Association, both we have already discussed. Okay. So Africa, India, key maritime engagement. So acronym AIKEYME, India, Africa, India, key maritime engagement. So under this ACME, what has been decided? India and Africa will go for multilateral exercise, which will be hosted by Indian Navy and Tanzania, with the participation of 10 African countries. Now, this is Indian Ocean Rim Association. important is IOS Sagar. Okay. IOS Sagar, that is Indian Ocean Ship. IOS, Indian Ocean Ship Sagar, is a maritime security corporation. In the southwest Indian Ocean region. Okay. So for this southwest Indian Ocean region. Okay. So when we are saying southwest Indian Ocean region, mean this one. Okay. There's a difference between India's Indian Ocean strategy and Asia pivot or Asia Pacific strategy or Indo-Pacific strategy. Under Indo-Pacific, India is engaging with US in Quad, and the Asia Pacific strategy is from the tip of Africa to the tip of South America. This is Asia Pacific. And from the tip of Africa till the Australia is the Indian Ocean strategy. Okay. Both these strategies are because of the rising influence of China in the region. And China has increased so much of investment in its defense budgets, and China is expanding its naval military presence in the region. As China is increasing its naval military presence in the name of its enhanced economic engagement with the countries of this region under maritime Silk Route, which India perceives as string of pearl. To counter that, India is pursuing India has increased its India's India has increased its maritime diplomacy, not only with the African countries, but also increase naval military presence in the Indian Ocean region. Under this perspective, we have started IOS Sagar and Mahasagar. Okay. So both are aspiration to become a net security provider in Asia Pacific and are enhance maritime strategic engagement with the African countries is within this particular aspect of rising naval military presence of China, which India perceives as its string of pearl strategy. Okay. So from exam point of view, one is IORA is important. Second is India Africa Naval Exercise, that is IOS Sagar. Now, IOS Sagar is an initiative to cooperation with IOR nation, that is Indian Ocean region nations, especially Southwest Indian Ocean region. In this, we are going to deploy our patrol vessel INS Sunan. So important thing to know is what IOS Sagar is. India Africa naval exercise. In this, we are going to deploy this patrol vessel, and how many countries will going to participate in this exercise? 9 friendly foreign countries. Okay. So not all will be from Africa, but Sri Lanka also. Right. So one is India Africa naval exercise. Second is Mahasagar. First, what this acronym stands for: mutual and holistic advancement for security across the region, announced in 2025 during the visit of the PM to Mauritius. It builds on Sagar, that is security and growth for all, which we initiated in 2015. Okay. So under our enhanced maritime diplomacy in the Indian Ocean region and in the especially Southwest Indian Ocean region, where we are diplomatically engaging with African countries, the two new major steps we have taken is IOS Sagar, Indian Ocean Ship Sagar, and Mahasagar. And so what IOS Sagar is, it's a India-Africa naval exercise. We are going to deploy INS Sunaina. In this, 9 countries will participate. Okay. And in these 9 countries, not all are African. One is South Asian country, that is Sri Lanka. And Mahasagar is mutual and holistic advancement for security across the region. Okay. And Sagar is security and growth for all, initiated way back in 2015, and Indian Ocean Rim Association. So this year pre Sagar initiative, we have already discussed what Mahasagar stands for, when it has been announced, and IOS, Indian Ocean Ship Sagar. These are 4 important things on which there can be a question in pre-exam. Okay. So all are the maritime security initiatives taken by India to enhance its security in the region and to counter China's rising naval military presence in the region. And Indian Ocean region and Indo-Pacific region are 2 different geographical entities. Under our Indian Ocean region initiative, we are engaging with the African countries, and under our Indo-Pacific strategy, we are engaging with US, Japan, Australia through Quad. This is the difference between our enhanced strategic engagement in Indian Ocean region and Indo-Pacific region. Okay, so these are the things which were in the news this week. I hope you are clear what exactly the issue of Kurdistan is. This issue is a threat for the integrity and sovereignty of who these people are, what they are aspiring for, what is the difference between nation and state, why still we say nation building is still going on in India, what is the status of India, what is our idea of nation, what is the Western idea of nation. Okay, what are the elements of state, what are the elements of nation, and to become a state in international system, what is required for a territory or for an entity who holds 4 elements to become a state in international system is the international recognition from 2/3 members of General Assembly. Then the location of Black Sea, Bosporus Strait. Okay, Bosporus Strait connects Black Sea to the Sea of Marmara. Okay, Aegean Sea, Ojoke Sea, all these are the locations which are important for you to know. Okay, and the third thing is that is India's maritime diplomacy in Africa and Indian Ocean region, and Sagar, Mahasagar. Sagar, Mahasagar, IOS Sagar, and Sagar Initiative. These are the 4 important things which can be asked by UPSC in this year exam. So these were the important things for this week from the domain of IR. We'll continue our discussion next week. Okay. Best wishes, best of luck. Bye. Take care.